I saw that. I knew that.
Call the Broken Arrow City Council meeting to order. We have invocation by Pastor Scott Moore.
Hello. Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, we come before you today with hearts full of gratitude for this community we call home. We thank you for the dedicated members of the City Council, the city staff who tirelessly work to contribute toward the growth and well-being of our city. Father, we also come before you and we want to thank you especially for the efforts of Vice Mayor Gillespie, who will switch her title from Vice Mayor to State Senator soon. And we just ask you continue to bless her as she represents her district and our community with all the same energy and sincerity she has as the Vice Mayor. Father, we ask you to bless all of us with wisdom and clarity and strength as we lead and serve our city. We thank you for the citizens gathered here today and just ask that our discussions would be guided with mutual respect and understanding and a shared commitment for the good of everyone in our community. Father, we thank you again for the privilege of being able to be here and to have these discussions and to have fine people representing us and working for our good. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Roll call.
Green.
Here.
Ford.
Here.
Parks.
Here.
Wimpy.
Here. Please stand and join Councilor Green for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Attention. Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We have item F on the consent agenda to be pulled for discussion. Are there any
Excuse
other
me.
items? Yes, sir.
Item 5. The agenda's been
I'm just gonna
renumbered
skip on past
due to
that.
a couple of items.
Probably because I didn't want to talk about it. Sorry. So item 5 is resignation acknowledgement. 5A, acknowledgement of Vice Mayor Gillespie's resignation. So, was anyone going to speak on that, or do you?
No, actually, I think it'd be good. It was official when she submitted to the city clerk, according to my conversations last year with our city attorney, but I do think it would be good to acknowledge it into the record.
Okay. Okay, then.
Does she have a comment?
We have the presentation later, then I'm sure she'll
Okay.
share the Constitution with us later.
Do we need a motion?
No, I don't think we did.
Yes.
Trevor,
I'll
we
make
need a motion to accept the letter, or?
That would be fine.
Our court says yes. So I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of Vice Mayor Chrissy Gillespie.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call. All right. She has resigned.
You're officially resigned.
She's official. Item 6A, appointment of vice mayor. Consideration, discussion, and possible action by city council to appoint a council member to fill the vacancy in the office of vice mayor pursuant to section 110. And then just a note on that, does that go through the April election? Like we would again select then, or would that be going forward? Do we know?
I believe it's just through April.
April 15th, 2025, so it would be the balance of the remaining term for the vice mayor.
Okay.
Well, I know that everyone who's sitting up here would be capable of serving in that role. I know the former vice mayor left big shoes to fill, but I would like to make a motion that we consider Councilor Johnny Parks for our next vice mayor. He served the city for a long time. I think he would do a good job in that role.
Well, I will just make a comment that I'd certainly be willing to sit as the vice mayor. The role is an important role, especially if the mayor's not here. And I did serve as vice mayor at the end of my first 15 years of term for 2 years. So
What year was that?
let me get out my calendar. That was in 1994, 1993. So if it so be the council's desire, I would certainly be willing to do that.
I'll second that motion.
All right. Congratulations. We have a motion and a second.
You have to vote.
Roll call.
That's a surprise.
Would you like to switch seats?
I'll work my way over. Thank you.
Right hand.
Thank you, council. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Okay, now, item 7. We do have item 7F pulled for discussion. Is there any other items to be removed from the consent agenda?
Move that we accept the consent agenda minus
What?
item F.
Excuse me, Mayor, 7V.
V as in Victor.
Yes.
And 7B.
B as in Victor or B as in boy?
V as
We
in
have,
Victor.
yes, because
B
there's
as in
someone who
Victor,
wants to
yes.
speak on it.
Yes, we're pulling that as well.
Then I'll make the motion to accept the consent agenda minus F and V as in Victor.
Okay,
I'll second that motion.
we have a motion and a second. Roll call.
I voted yes.
Okay. Item 7F, approval of and authorization to execute amendment number 1 to professional consulting agreement with Carver LLC for Kenosha Street sidewalks from North Sycamore Avenue to North Redbud Avenue, sorry. Charlie Bright.
Yeah, I didn't know we were talking about this today, but happy to.
Well, actually, I was just gonna pull it off just to thank Kenny and whoever else had a hand in this, because this is the sidewalk that we're crossing over a railroad track, which takes longer to get things done. And this is, I feel like the students at Rama and really everyone east of 145th will appreciate the connectivity that we're having, because we do have a big blank space between these two streets, and doesn't make it real safe to be able to maneuver. So I just wanted to say thank you, because I know it's not easy, not with dealing with the railroad.
Absolutely. I'll comment that we're already under designed to do the crossings themselves right there at the railroad tracks. This particular amendment's actually really good because that sidewalk's missing a large portion down through Ramo where they normally do the sidewalks and everything else. This amendment is to design getting us all the way through connection through Ramo. So I think it'll be really helpful, and then obviously get us across the railroad tracks.
Yes. So I'll make a motion to accept F, item F.
Good deal.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? And a second?
Second.
Roll call. All right, item B is approval of BAZ 1765 for rezoning. Amanda.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, Council, Mr. Spurgeon. This is a rezoning for approximately 13 acres of land from IL Industrial Light and Commercial General to IH Industrial Heavy, along with FD, which is the flood district. The applicant's requesting to rezone this lot in preparation for the development of Ellsworth Asphalt Plant, which is a permitted use by right in the IH district. This property does meet all of the dimensional standards for the IH zoning district. The property is designated as level 7 in the comprehensive plan. IH is in accordance with the comprehensive plan in level 7. Public hearing was held on this item on October 24th of this year. Planning Commission recommended approval of this rezoning with a 3-2 vote per staff recommendation. Staff recommended subject Recommended approval subject to the property being platted, and during the public comment period, no one spoke in opposition or in support of this item.
Do we have, what's our plans for road improvements on there?
On Houston? Actually, the voters have approved funding to go from Lynn Lane all the way out to Highway 51. And as council knows, there's a floodplain issue that is on the west side of County Line Road that we're trying to determine exactly how to address that. So you actually could see us do the part from County Line to Highway 51 first, and then come back in a second phase and do the area from County Line to Lynn Lane. But that, with the voters approved that in 2018, and I think we're near in terms of having the designs done. It's just a matter of how to deal with that stormwater matter that's there just west of County Line.
We do have one citizen that would like to speak on this. Catherine Church.
Hello, my name's Catherine Church. I live at 1300 South 28th Street. I appreciate y'all giving me the opportunity to talk tonight. And I apologize, I didn't know this had already gone that far. So tonight's the first time that I would like to talk about it, and just doing a little bit of history on living near an asphalt plant. There's all sorts of health conditions that, even though it meets all the safety conditions, there's still a quality of life and a quality of air that I think all the neighbors, especially in Oak Creek South, will be downwind of it. It can cause irritations to your nose, your throat, your lungs, headaches, dizziness, nausea, vomiting, cause coughing, wheezing, shortness of breath. Plus it smells. And if anybody's ever lived down from something that smells all the time, when the wind changes and it hits your house, you can't go outside. You stay inside your house. So I don't have a whole lot to talk about it, other than I think having a quality of life in your own home is important, and around your property in your home. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
Thanks for sharing. The business, Kenny, that's right next to it, is it not a concrete company?
It is.
Okay. Which deals with asphalt already.
Right.
So,
So I think we have the business owners here,
we do.
if they would like.
Oh,
Can we
sure.
have them come and speak?
Mayor Lou Reynolds, 2727 East 21st Street, Suite 200, Tulsa, 74114. I represent Ellswood Asphalt Company. We have this property under contract at this time, and I'd like to show you a little bit about asphalt plants. And these are the specifics and details of our plant, but I'd like to start you out with a question, because some of you may have done this. Have any of you ever been to the waste to energy facility in West Tulsa? Mm-hmm. And it's one of the most remarkable feats is that when you stand on the tipping floor where they dump all the municipal solid waste, that City of Broken Arrow waste, it's Tulsa waste, there's a hole in the ground that's almost 6 stories deep, and it's about 10,000 square foot hole. And it's got all that trash in it, and you can stand there at the edge of that trash pit on the tipping floor of that plant and have a conversation, and you don't need a mask, you can breathe, and you can't smell the trash. You can be 3 feet away from that thing, because they use exhaust fans that suck the air that comes off of that trash pile, goes into the burners, and it's heated, and it comes out the top in the stack, and the air that comes out of that stack is cleaner than the air on the ground level of the parking lot. It's a similar way that this plant works. This plant works so that the fumes from the exhaust go into feeding the fire, and they're burned through the fire and filtered so that there's not smells and things that you attribute to these plants, and it cleans the air in that process. So the idea behind, say, the smells and things, this plant doesn't create them through its process, and it uses those as part of its fire, and it's actually a simple process. The real simple process is to see it there at the trash plant, because you can see every bit of it. It's really kind of neat. So we don't have a big odor problem. We don't have a noise problem. You can see this thing operates around 70 decibels, and so we fit very well in this. The property's planned for IH use. We're in IH use. There's a neighbor just due north of us. We met with that neighbor personally. We told him what we were going to do, and he said, "I'm fine with you all doing that. That's just perfectly acceptable to me." So I'd respectfully request you approve this. It's recommended for approval by your staff, and it was recommended for approval by your planning commission.
I actually worked for Alliance Transportation and Mid-Continent Concrete for a number of years, so I know a little bit about asphalt.
You do?
The smells, yeah. So, do you guys have any questions for the?
I'll just say that I had the opportunity to meet with Elle's family and went over some of the stuff in depth in conversation, and I had them send me some videos of other asphalt plants that are similar to this. I've seen some of the older asphalt plants and know some of the things that go along with those, but what they are looking at doing, and they can probably explain it better than I can, they're not looking at bringing in old equipment, but new equipment that is up to the latest standards, EPA, et cetera, as you can see by their PowerPoint they're given here. But they could probably speak on that a little bit if they would like to, just so we have a better idea of what's going to go in versus what you may experience from an older asphalt plant.
Hi, Nathan Ellsworth, 7924 South Frisco. Mr. Green kind of stole my fire there, but I just wanted to point out that Ellsworth was proposing a brand new asphalt plant, not a used plant from another site somewhere else. Modern technology, all of the air filtration system that Lou explained. And then also would just like to point out that, you know, Ellsworth, we're a family-owned business. We've been around for 50 years. My father started the company 50 years ago. We're very proud of that. We have about 274 employees. We will be creating jobs. And, you know, one thing that we probably all did coming down here today, every one of us in this room, is we drove on asphalt streets to get here. And we probably parked on asphalt parking lots. And so it's important to have a facility such as this in your community, because your community is growing. And there's lots of people that will benefit from having an asphalt plant, as well as your city through sales tax revenue and such. So if you have any specific questions for me, I'll do my best to answer. I understand we're in a zoning question here, but we're not hiding what we're trying to accomplish with this zoning change.
Yep. Well, hopefully your explanation of things helped with the concerns that the citizen had. But
okay.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for your time.
Robert Ellsworth. I'm the old guy in the business. But this is something we've been looking at for about the last 5 years. So we've looked at a lot of property. We've tried to find the right spot that works, you know, for the market, and that doesn't adversely affect residential areas. And of all the properties we've looked at, this is probably, and by far, the most fitting piece of property that we've seen. And with the growth that's taken place in Broken Arrow and Coweta and Southeast Tulsa, it's just a matter of time till somebody's going to put in a facility like this. And we ask that you grant us the opportunity to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Any further questions? Discussion? Do you have a motion?
So we're looking at a motion to approve or deny
Yes.
this, and it's my understanding that both city staff, and planning has recommended approval. Do you have any thoughts on that, Mr. Spurgeon?
No.
You work directly with
I'm
staff.
very happy. I mean, we basically built the road, or planning to build the road to accommodate the growth that's going to be happening in that industrial type area. And, you know, I looked over this, and I support staff's recommendation and that of the planning commission.
And it's not a surprise that it'd be in that area because it is an
Sounds
industrial
good.
area. We just want to make sure that the odor and any other thing might not affect or negatively affect our community. So,
I certainly have Rocky and Amanda make sure we work closely with the applicant. I'm excited about you're talking about a new plant with the amount of work that's going to be happening in Broken Arrow, which most of those road widenings will be asphalt type improvements, and especially the development that's happening. I think it'd be good, for the community overall. But I certainly am concerned about what was brought up, and we can certainly look at that.
Sure. And we'll continue looking at it.
So just to clarify, right now, this would be just the approval of the zoning from industrial L to industrial H. And if there's any other issues that came up prior to the final approval, we could address those at that time. Accurate. I'll make a motion to approve the zoning request.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Roll call. Item 8 is consideration of items removed from consent agenda. Item 9, public hearings, appeals, presentation, recognitions, and awards. 9A, presentation of a service award to former Vice Mayor Christy Gillespie for her exceptional dedication to the city of Broken Arrow. Michael Spurgeon.
So there's a plaque
Yes.
that we have right here.
It's a big.
It's a big box.
I'd like to ask the council to come down and join me, please. So Senator Gillespie, former Vice Mayor Gillespie, would you come forward, please?
Former.
So, here, just stand right here. So just real quick, I met Christy back in 2018 when she started coming to city council meetings, and also when she served on the general obligation bond package. She was one of the citizens that was a part of Build a Better Broken Arrow that got involved, that resulted in the passage of a $211 million bond package in 2018, you may remember. And then she shortly ran for council and was reelected. And what we want to do here on behalf of city council, and I'm going to let the mayor hand this to you, is this is basically a recognition that says, in honor of Christy Gillespie from 2019 to 2024, in honor of your steadfast commitment and service to the city of Broken Arrow, your insight and dedication have helped shape our community into a vibrant place to live, work, and play. Thank you for making a lasting impact on our city's future. So on behalf of the entire, all 1,000 employees and all the directors specifically, thank you for everything you do. And I am super excited to work with you in your former capacity and certainly in your new capacity. And I know it's going to be good. You'll be good for the state and you'll be good specifically for Broken Arrow. Thank you.
Do not take, let my husband be the only one.
She said somebody else.
It'll be like, right here. I mean, he's good at a lot of things.
Now if she wants to say something, she's got to go to the podium, right?
I know.
That's right.
Yeah, now if you want to ever address us, you have to come to the podium.
And you get 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Can I say something? Yeah. 3 minutes.
Did you sign a form?
Uh-oh. So, I did not sign a form. This will look beautiful in my new office on the second floor of the Capitol. So I actually got in the gated community, which that's what it's called. It was a fluke, but it's a really cool office, so I'm super excited. And I literally drove straight here from the Capitol because I've been there today. I got to hire my executive assistant. And have any of y'all opened what I gave you? Yes. So I just want to make sure that everyone remembers we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish the Constitution of the United States of America. And I leave our city in wonderful hands because These 4 counselors and our city manager up here and every single person on our staff are the cream of the crop. Y'all are the best. There is no other city out there that even comes close. And I'm so proud to have been a part of this council, and I'm excited to what we're going to accomplish. I've already contacted our mayor about a bill that I've said, if we pass this, will you run it? Will you make sure that you vote on it in city council? And she said she would, so I'm putting that on record. And Absolutely. absolutely. But I want the citizens to know what an amazing city we have here and what honorable people we have serving our city. And I just appreciate y'all so much. And I promise I will not come back to every single city council meeting, but I will put this in a very important place in my office. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm now going to leave and not stay for the rest.
Sorry, your 3 minutes is up now.
If we may have a comment or two, I would appreciate it. Christy, I would like to remind everyone about, I think she did an excellent job of leading as far as the city council is concerned. The thing about Christy, she could ask so many questions, and that's good. I really like that. I know staff don't like to hear that I really like that, but I think it really did well. I learned a lot from some of her questions, and I think our citizens that are watching on TV or wherever would know that we were really asking the questions. Now, the problem came about if there was something getting ready to be passed that she didn't like. She could ask so many questions for 30, 45 minutes. She knew it was going to fail, but yet she's done all she could to kind of push it on out. But other than that, she did a great job. And I really learned a lot from Christy, so thank you very much, Christy.
Yeah. Thank you, Senator. And now I have a place to stay when I go to Oklahoma City for meetings. So
Oh,
it's
there you
pretty
go.
cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We pulled item B because Representative Ford did not make it back.
Now, please don't Oklahoma City.
Okay. Item 10 is citizens' opportunity to address the council. There are none. I need to pull myself together. Item 11, general council business. 11A, consideration, discussion, and possible direction regarding city council filling the vacancy of the office of the council member for Ward 3 for the Broken Arrow City Council, including potentially appointing by a majority vote of the remaining members of the council a person to fill the vacancy until the next general municipal election. Trevor Dennis.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, Mr. Spurgeon. In light of Councilor Gillespie's resignation, state statute provides that the remaining members of the council within 60 days of the resignation shall appoint a replacement. And that would be until April 1st, 2025, which is when we have the next general election scheduled. Okay. So I'm happy to answer any questions. We had all the details in the RFA. We also have the state statute attached as well. So with that, this just gives council the opportunity to direct staff on a process that they would like to follow for the voting on the replacement for Ward number 3.
Well, and to recap what, we just went through this last year and got an amazing counselor to our right, Counselor Green. And that was an educational process for us because it had been so long since we had that opportunity to have to appoint someone and to read the statute, and it says you shall appoint, which means you shall, you will, you must, you may. It's not you may or if you want to. So it's a short period of time, but we have to. So
I will say this, that the shall, and I think that the definition that the city attorney sent out, that we shall do it within 60 days, and if it's not done in that time period, then it would go to the election after that. Is that correct?
That's correct. The statute does contemplate if for some reason, whether it's from an inability to reach a majority vote or just for any other reason, if that doesn't happen, there is a fallback that it would be filled at the next general election.
Okay,
Which will be here in April.
It would be April 2025.
right.
And so then the process, we would have people submit their letters of interest, right?
If that's the process that council wants to follow, which I believe it was last time.
Okay, so last time we did that, we had people, we gave them a date, and then we set a special meeting before a council meeting.
That's correct.
Had them all speak, and then we voted at that meeting, and then they became a counselor at that moment, right?
Yeah, if you remember, is that you had the special meeting, and I think there were 7 to 9 people that expressed interest, and it was also an agenda item on the regular meeting, and council debated it, then selected Councilmember Green to fill the
Right.
unexpired term. And so the dates in December are the 3rd and 17th respectfully. And so obviously, if the direction is to proceed accordingly, would it be on the 3rd or the 17th? So in other words, we'd probably get a notice out to social media and all of our platforms within the next few days, and then folks would have between now and that date, we'd ask them to get it in the Friday before. That's a little short with the Thanksgiving holiday in there, and so it's either the 3rd or the 17th.
They have more time sitting at home to put their letter together.
The 3rd or the 17th, just a special meeting, probably start at 5 o'clock like we did last time, I believe, and then have an item, should you choose to do so, at the regular meeting thereafter.
Okay.
Any preference on the 3rd or the 17th?
If you wait to the 17th, I'm just talking out loud here, wait to the 17th, then, you know what I mean, then can they be appointed at that 17th meeting that we
Yes.
look through and present and have them, ask them questions?
That's how it happened last time.
Is that how it did it? Okay.
Really
It's
fast.
up to council, I mean.
I just wanted to be, if we're going to appoint somebody, I wanted to appoint it as soon as we could, you know what I mean, to
So it
get
sounds
that
like the
person.
3rd, we could do it as soon as the 3rd.
Okay, yes.
I think we also need to give opportunity for people to be able to have that conversation and get their stuff submitted. So, I mean, if we close the window too soon, we may miss out on opportunities, so it's 6 one way, half dozen the other. I mean,
That'd be a-
typically in corporate, you give a 30-day window for people to apply. I know we don't really have that here, but what would be given 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
Well, as busy as we are in a 2-week period, if someone that's interested in this position can't get us a letter in 2 weeks, then I don't know if this is really the best job for them,
It's a
honestly.
matter of getting it out in front of them.
I kinda
in
think
2
so,
weeks.
too.
So you think the 3rd or you think the 17th?
We can get something out tomorrow, no later than Thursday.
I
And we'll
think
run
that-
it for a few days, and that drove plenty of interest last time.
I think that, myself think the 3rd to get it, you know what I mean, get them on board as soon as we can.
I would agree.
And then that person that does appoint, if we do appoint someone, they would have to have the understanding that they would need to run or would want to run for the April election, hopefully. I mean, I don't know why you would want to be appointed for a
Yeah, I
couple
don't
of
think we
months
can
and then
They
not
found
run.
counterproductive to appoint
Yeah.
someone who only wants to serve for 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, the statutory requirements are they have to have the same qualifications to fill that office, which they have to be a registered voter and resident of Ward 3 for at least 6 months prior to the appointment. So that's the statutory requirement.
Okay. All right, so did we decide December 3rd? Okay,
Aaron and I will, and staff will take care of it. We'll get it out at ASAP, and then we'll accept those, have them send them to the city clerk, city clerk's office, official keeper of the record, and then I'll ask Curtis to distribute those as they come in.
okay,
And there is no, just honestly, I mean, the letter could be 1 paragraph, or it could be 11 pages. It's really up to that individual. From last time, there were some that were very short, and others were rather lengthy. But the way, for anyone that's in the audience that's interested, the way it went was council will collect all those, and then the mayor will call everyone up that's expressed their interest to give them a certain period of time to basically to express their interest in serving in that position.
Well, and I would just say, and I know the rest of the council feels the same way, is if anyone listening or in the audience is interested in running, reach out to us. We'll let you know the time commitment and the things that, you know, are kind of expected of you, honestly, as a council member. And, because I know a few people have already reached out, and so I'd be more than happy to talk to anybody, and I'm sure the rest of you all would as well.
sure will. All right.
Got it,
Thank
Mayor.
you. All right, 11B, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of an authorization to execute contract for software services and professional services with OpenGov. Cindy Arnold.
Good evening. I have to do it from over here because these are links. So, let me start the slideshow. Good evening. We relaunched OpenGov a few months ago, and we are in the process of, if the council approves the new contract, to update it to a new version. I just wanted to give you a sneak peek. If you remember, this is the old version. It gave me a problem when I started the first time too. You know, we could drill down, and we did a presentation on that. You got the actual versus budget. But the new version, this is a mock-up that OpenGov did for us, just to do it as a demo. And we can design it any way we want. Say this is city manager's monthly report. You could click in, and his letter and communications, and then you can jump on the videos right away. They're all, the mouse is kind of acting weird. They're right there in front of people. So, and then you can scroll down, and then the financial, and you can drill down a little bit farther. Charges by services, general property, and then the revenues over the year. There's a lot more we can do, and it's a lot more user-friendly, I think. And then expenditures by department, like we normally have talked about. And then what's also pretty cool is we can do, this is not our park thing, but they wanted to show an example. Where would you like to build a new park in the city? So it does surveys, it does the introduction, and then you get the feedbacks and the responses, and then it will show the outcomes. So, and they can link right onto the survey.
Okay.
Another one is the performance dashboards. I like this. And we can design them in any way, and they can be updated how often as we want. These are all we want: the general government, public safety. Let's go into public safety real quick. Go into it's not cooperating. Let's try it. Am I too far away? Okay.
No, it should be clicking on it. You want me to click on one of them?
Yeah. See if it. There we go. And these, we can say total fire calls, response time, fire incidents. We can get all this data and put it in on a monthly basis, or as often as we would like. We'll go into the police. Total calls, dispatch, response time, and as I said, we can set it up any way we would like. They do all the tiles, and then we work the background, so.
And again, that is not our stats.
Right.
153,000.
No.
Yeah.
Phoenix.
Just examples.
And then another thing we're adding to OpenGov is our projects. This is Glenn County, Georgia. They also have big geo bonds. They call it SPLOC. So, but it's pretty, here's the original budget. These are all the traffics. I mean, this is all some of their projects. And you have the original budget, revised budget, and life-to-date actuals. And these will be brought over from our accounting system.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So we're hoping to launch next fiscal year those new projects and see how it works. And then also we can put anything that we want to for the next bond pod project in here. And it has a table of contents. And then they have the different tier projects like fire and safety. These are the so we could do it by proposition. There's a lot of different ways we could do it. And that's it.
Okay.
But I just wanted to give you a quick little preview because it is some additional money. Actually, it's an implementation of about $55,000, and then versus our old version versus our new is only like $35,000 additional a year. And I think we would have great use for it. A lot of the departments can use it. We are going to train the different departments to feed their information into it. And so staff is recommending to approval and authorize the execution of the amended contract to OpenGov.
And does it work with other software within the, like, the other departments so that maybe it relieves some work from them?
Well, it should. I mean, really, it's a transparency piece, and
Yeah.
so the whole purpose of it is that there's going to be a lot of manual inputting, and then there's going to be updating, and the whole purpose of it is for any resident that wants to come in to find out exactly how, you know, it really is. This is the Thrive Edition obviously talks about where we get our dollars and how they're spent. You can actually go into OpenGov right now, and you'll even have better tools with the updated version to be able to go in and see how much money, in this case, the fire department has spent in each month of the year for this fiscal year and for other fiscal years as well. And so residents, anybody that wants to take the time can actually see how the city's spending the money, where they're spending the money, how we are budget versus actual, what percentage that is. It is full of information for anybody that's, and we'll be referring folks, because it's got to be user-friendly. And the way it's set up is that, you know, the communications team will actually be linking that to folks if they have a question about something, so they can go in and look and try to actually get more folks to get on it to use it, that tool's out there.
And like a lot of the information that would be on there, the departments already keep track of. So all we need to do is create a monthly import, and then we'll import it.
Can we ask questions?
Yes.
All right. So do we have any stats on how many people are actually using the current version, like as far as people actually logging in or going on the site and clicking on it?
I don't know off the top of my head at this moment. I don't think that, it's not used as like it should. It's a little, I don't think it's as user-friendly as the new version. I actually went to Texas to see, they wanted us to do another platform, but then we saw this, and I was like, I think this is our way to go.
I think
We're
some
just
of-
going to
I
have to
think
do a
some
lot of
that is maybe
education.
educating the
Yeah,
citizens
that's
that
what I'm saying.
what we
Is
have.
it worthwhile to update it if no one's using it, or are we going to advertise what's going to make more people go to this one than went to the last one?
I think with this one too, we also, with education, we also could put a link on our Facebook account, and maybe do some videos and really push it out there. Because it's just more than financial. Some people just, right now it's just a financial portal, but this is going to be citywide. And I think, unfortunately, even though I'm the finance person, the financial part is not the exciting part for a lot of people. They want to see what the projects are. They want to see how far they're coming. They want to see, you know, that kind of stuff. And this new portal will provide that.
So all of like the street projects and all of that will be through there as well, where you can see like what started or when it's supposed to be, like what phase they're in, and
We'll still keep our actually project website that people can look at it. This will be another place so it's all condensed and put together. And I agree with you, Counselor. I mean, I would like to track this for a couple of years, and if it's not being utilized after we do a newsletter, after we do something utility bills and promote it, then I think maybe we shouldn't continue it. But, you know, I think it's important to offer that, folks to be able to use it. And so we will track the usage and then make a determination if in fact it's worth it. If it's not, then we won't continue it, or we'll look at something a little bit different.
And OpenGov only asks for a 3-year contract if there's appropriations. There's always an out.
Right, okay.
Well, I like the idea of communications, though, also sending the link when someone has a question, because then they may dig in a little deeper and find out something than just the one question that they're
'cause
asking.
sometimes now when people look at the OpenGov we have now, you know, I mean, it's just numbers. You know, this can be more interactive.
okay. Any further discussion?
Vice Mayor?
No discussion. I think that it'll work out well. I think it'll take a while to do that. But
Right.
there's a lot of citizens, as they start utilizing it, you know what I mean, will pick it up.
Well, currently, communications pays for a survey company, and that will go away because of OpenGov.
Oh, I was wondering about that.
So
if they could-
that is going to drive people more to use the portal.
My suggestion would be that the council would come more friendly with it
Now,
and
have any of you
understand
logged
it,
on to OpenGov?
and sell it to the community. When we get our questions, say, oh, yeah, well, you could go here and look at this, and that would do that. So, and I'm talking about myself, of course.
And, you know, once we get going and get the tiles, you know, set up, I mean, there's a lot of things we can change. We can, you know, maybe bring it once every quarter, do a quick demo, see what we've added, what we've taken away, you know, and get people's input.
Okay.
All right. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept 24-1530.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call. All right. Item C, consideration,
Thank you.
discussion. Thank you, Cindy. Discussion and possible approval of fiscal year 24-25 collective bargaining agreement with the FOP Lodge 170. Kelly Cox.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Council. Congratulations, Mr. City Manager. I'm here this evening to present to you the agreed-upon collective bargaining agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police. We started negotiations in March of this year. Negotiations continued until July. At that time, the FOP declared impasse and provided us notification that they wanted to enter into arbitration. Through the last couple of weeks, we have worked towards a settlement offer, and we have agreed upon a settlement offer, and I'll cover those main changes for you as I go through this. The recognition, there's of course date changes throughout the whole article, or I'm sorry, the whole contract that will be changed to the applicable year of 24-25. The recognition, this is an extension of the probationary period for employees, which we can extend for a period of 3 months if the employee is having difficulty during the training and FTO phase. The destruction of officers' property, right now we give a reimbursement for employees if they damage a watch or prescription sunglasses, phones, so we are proposing increasing those amounts as noted in the article. On the holiday language, this is changing language that pertains to on-call personnel that work on a holiday. In addition, each employee has maximum accrual banks for holiday leave, vacation leave, and compensatory leave. We are recommending increasing the holiday leave bank from 175 hours to 200 hours maximum. The sick leave language is just a language change right now because we are practicing something and we need to have the language that goes along with our practice. The Article 22, which is compensation, it is a 4.5% increase effective July 1st, 2024, with a subsequent increase coming on January the 1st, 2025 of 0.5%. The FLSA implementation and overtime, this is again an increase in their maximum leave bank. This will increase their leave bank from 130 hours to 150 hours. The vacation leave, same thing as this. This will increase their maximum tier levels by a vacation bank of 50 for each tier. They have vacation tier banks from 1 to 5 years, 6 to 10, 11 to 15, 16 to 20, and then I think 20 and above. Our group health insurance has not increased since 2007, so we are recommending increasing the individual contribution for insurance from $25 a month to $40 a month. And on the promotions, we're recommending some language changes. There is a written process currently, an assessment process, and then an internal interview panel, so we are adjusting those percentages for each assessment. Our funeral benefit would increase from $10,000 to $20,000 in the event somebody passed away in the line of duty, and then adding the body-worn camera policy. I am happy to answer any questions that you might have, and we recommend approval.
Any discussion, questions?
I'd make a motion, we approve the fiscal 24-25 collective bargaining agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police, Lodge number 170.
I'll second it. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Thank you very much.
All right, 11D, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of and authorization to accept the fourth guaranteed maximum price from Crossland Heavy Contractors for construction of the events park. Shannon.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, congratulations again, and council members and Mr. Spurgeon. My name is Shannon Marshall, Special Projects Division Manager. Before you today is the fourth amendment for a guaranteed maximum price with Cross and Heavy contractors for improvements at Events Park. This package would cover the construction costs for the Events Park exit ramp connection onto the Creek Turnpike. The total cost is $954,639, and city staff is recommending approval. I'm here to answer any questions.
Any questions?
I do have one question, Mayor. Do we have an estimate on what we thought it would cost?
The initial estimate was just over $1 million, and so this came in under the estimated price, which is great. And this is hopefully the last package. There's no other design work currently in work, so.
This is a really important piece to make this project work and be successful and getting traffic moved in an efficient manner. So.
Absolutely.
So Charlie did provide an answer to a question or two, but this is the first time we've really tried this, and it's from my perspective, the way we've gone about using this contract, which is new for us, I believe it's working very, very well. So, is that your perspective in terms of how we've been good service from the contractor, and in terms of the quality of work and the price that we're paying and so forth?
Yes, I would agree with that. That we're getting with the fast pace, large scope, large scale of project, the uniqueness that this brings for this particular project. Having this construction management agreement with Cross and Heavy has been beneficial to the city in the fact that they know what's coming and they can help us estimate and help us schedule it out to make sure that we hit our agreements with venue and make sure that we keep up with the pace of the amphitheater as well. So yeah, I think it's been successful, but I'm definitely open to hearing if anyone has any concerns. I'd love to address them throughout to finish out this project.
I just think, I'm out there all the time, I just think they've done a great job in terms of how they kept the site clear, and they've got their cones, their personnel are managing it, especially with all the traffic that's out there with the school.
Schools, yep.
I've just been very happy with the way that they've managed this project for us with so much going on, with so many different actual contractors.
Yes.
And this seems like a win-win historically. You know, this has been used for years. Historically, it's a win-win situation usually. You know, they're adding on enough for their profit, and we're not paying any more than what, so no one's running a big risk, you know what I mean, in this.
Right. It helps manage risk on both ends. So yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And the school has been a great partnership. I know they have a turkey trot coming up with their elementary kids, I think this Friday before Thanksgiving, and they gave us notice for our contractors to work around, you know, their family event for the kids and things like that. So we'll make adjustments for them, and they've been a great partnership here through this. So.
Good.
Any other questions?
Yeah, my granddaughter goes to Rosewood, so.
Just one thing, when you have a chance, could you actually send me, so I can send to the council exactly where what I'd call the turnaround is going to be?
Absolutely.
I've had a couple of questions about exactly where that's going to, how heading south as you're coming from the parking lots, and how you're going to get back on the turnpike. If I can just have some design layout so I can send it to council members.
Absolutely.
I'm sure the public may have a question too.
Yep, we can definitely send that. We have those types of materials, drawings, and graphics available, and for an overall picture too.
Okay.
So yeah.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thank you all.
I'll make a motion to approve GMP number 4 from Crossland Heavy Contractors, Inc.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call. Item E, consideration, discussion, and possible award of the most advantageous bid for wrecker service to Story Wrecker and 918 Wrecker Service to be rotated at the first of each month. Ryan Bays.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor. Congratulations, Council, City Manager. Happy to be here this evening with you. Back to talk a little bit about wrecker service for the City of Broken Arrow and also the citizens here. And see, sorry I was a little late with the PowerPoint, but as he gets loaded up, the purpose of this bid package that we sent out was non-consensual towing, which is towing basically initiated by our police department, which is going to be, for the most part, involving either vehicles that were in an accident, where PD has called and said, hey, we need some help, and they're going to, if the, let's say the individual doesn't have a wrecker service in mind, this would be the wrecker service that the police would call. If a citizen had a wrecker service, then they're going to just call whoever they have. Let's say that they say, well, we have AAA and we want to call, company X, Y, or Z, then that would happen. The other piece of this bid is for city towing, so towing city vehicles. Those are really the two pieces that were covered by this. So our non-consensual towing is, the purpose of this was to ensure the services can be managed, that they can handle managing of the police department's needs, and also confirming the facilities. So we wanted the vehicles to be stored in Broken Arrow inside the city limits, so that, let's say, if we tow a vehicle here, whoever lives here isn't driving to Tulsa to go to get their belongings out of the vehicle, to retrieve anything they might need, or to have it towed to a body shop. So part of it is to ensure that the facility is safe, meets the standards set forth in the bid package. We also wanted to have 24 access for the public along with our police department. The city towing service we really were evaluating that to be good stewards of the public's money here, to ensure that those are timely within the same standards of the police department for 30 minutes, but also to make sure that we're getting the best price we can for towing city assets. So when we looked at those, we're going to want to talk first about the city assets. 918 Wrecker was the most competitive bid for towing city vehicles. Story Wrecker had some higher rates there, but if we look to the other side, if we looked for what they're charging the public, Story was less expensive for the public, where 918 was a little higher. So depending on how you weighed that out, it was really tough to weigh out the two, which one was overall the best value for the city of Broken Arrow. So Story Wrecker did provide the city with no hook fees or winching fees, where 918 did. But overall, if you look at it, I think whenever we were looking at the broad picture for what's great for Broken Arrow, they were very competitive overall when you tried to look at the bid tabs. So what we suggest in here was a monthly rotation between 918 Wrecker Service and Story. So Story's been providing for decades for the city of Broken Arrow tows. 918 is also working. I talked to them the other day, and they said they had 9 to 15 wreckers in Broken Arrow working all the time. So they've also been servicing the citizens of Broken Arrow. And so what we looked at here was, instead of doing it where PD had to keep up with, all right, this call we're calling company A, this call we're going to call company B, to make that, we're going to call it equitable. We're going to do a month for one and then rotate the next month to the other one. And that way PD has a list, and they say, all right, in the month of January, we know who we're going to call in the month of February. And the same thing would go for the city on our side. Let's say Fleet's calling them out. Fleet knows, okay, in the month of January, we're calling company X. And that way we don't have different departments trying to coordinate with dispatch. Who do I call this round? Who was the last one dispatched out? And so we tried to think of a way to make that, great for both partners, or both partners with the city. And we thought a monthly rotation would be the answer to that. It's still, we have our response times were 30 minutes. In the bid packet, we state that that's to be over 90% of the time that they're responding within 30 minutes. We expect that to happen. We hope for 100% of the time, but we know things are going to happen. The bid package does allow some language in it that if we call company A and company A is not going to be able to get there for 30 minutes, we can automatically roll to company B. And so whenever we go to the next one here, coverage during high demands, that would help us during those peaks. So let's say something catastrophic that we hope never happens, but if it does, then we have the ability to call in 2 wrecker companies to handle that. The primary would still kind of remain in the lead for those. Key benefits, we talked about trying to distribute it. This makes it easier, one, for city staff. It also makes it easier for the record companies. They know in the month of January, hey, we're handling everything. February, we're just going to be handling public calling in. Enhance efficiency. It streamlines it for not just dispatch, but also for city personnel. And I think it provides a level of transparency for everyone that we know what our plan is. So, happy to answer any additional questions.
Have you already had discussions with both services and their?
So it was spelled out pretty detailed in the bid package that it could be awarded to more than one.
Okay.
So Story is in the audience tonight. I'm sure he could answer to it. I think both parties are agreeable to have a rotation.
Chief Bennett and Major Garrett are good to go?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I believe so. Deputy Bennett would have anything to add to this?
We can adapt to the rotation without a problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I know Story has storage facilities here. 918 also does.
Yes, they both have. In fact, viewing the facilities, they're pretty similar. The facilities are both pretty centrally located. When we talk about facilities, 918 did say they would have staffing 24/7 at it. They would have dispatch where public could come up. Story Wrecker has dispatch during the days there. After hours, I believe, unless they've changed something, they send somebody from their Tulsa location down here. The response time is spelled out that they're able to do that in the bid package. They just have to be able to respond within 30 minutes. So if they receive a call from the public here, it's after hours, and they don't have a person manning their facilities, they have 30 minutes to have a person come here to help that person either get their belongings or to check their car out.
Well, it's not only important that we have, access here for public, but for our police department, because sometimes you see the car and it's evidence. So it has to be secured in such a manner that it can be protected and the evidence be preserved. So that's very important as well.
That's another good point. This bid requires them to be able to have 20 indoor parking places that are inside secured, so that chain of custody is held, along with 50 outdoor spots. So the bid's pretty specific on that. They have to have a minimum of 50 outdoor parking places and 20 indoor parking places available for PD.
And then also, like when there is a collision, I know sometimes there's debris left on the roadway, either bumpers or whatever. Is that the responsibility of the wrecker service to clean that up, or?
The bid package pretty well stated in there that not only are they kind of responsible to put that in, but it also encourages that they need to be able to carry 5 gallons of like a floor dry or kitty litter type of substance, a broom, a rake, and so that's spelled out in there. I know there was some initial talk that maybe one of the companies wasn't as excited about that, or that they felt there were some legal issues there, and then the other company said, no, we're legally responsible to do that, so we put that into the bid package. So that would be up to our police department. We would, if they came to us with some feedback, they were having trouble having accidents cleaned up, then we could go make adjustments with the vendor for that. Also, between the two vendors, 918 did offer additional for traffic control and also hazardous mitigation. So if there was a spill or something, they have in there that they could do those additional services for the city.
Okay.
And traffic control, we did have a question from PD on this. The traffic control isn't so much that they're going to put somebody out there flagging traffic. The traffic control is that they can bring an arrow board, they can bring cones out, they can help put the signs out to divert traffic to a single lane if there's something that I would think maybe potentially like on Broken Arrow Expressway where you're going to need to put something out for a mile.
So, and I appreciate that you, and I'm sure our police department does too, that you put the high demand clause in there, because it's important that our officers are able to get back to work instead of waiting for an hour for a tow truck, because this one's month. If they can't get there in that time frame, they can call the next one to come out and get that done, so we can continue to service the needs of our citizens.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, our police department does a terrific job, and they work hard to make sure they get the roadways cleared and back in action as quickly as possible with the least amount of disruption. And this contract helps to give them a tool to do that.
Thank you for doing
We do have a citizen that wanted to speak on this item. George Bayshaw. Okay, okay. Yeah, and he was in favor of this, by the way. So, okay, thank you, sir. All right, if there's no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll motion that we accept award the most advantageous bid, 25.124 for record services to Story Wrecker and 918 record services to be rotated first of each month.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call. Okay. Item 7F, or 11F, sorry. Consideration, discussion, and possible appointment of a city council member to serve on the Streets for All Stakeholder Advisory Committee. Rocky.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, members of council. Rocky Hinkle, Community Development Director. In December of 2022, the City Council approved the creation of a advisory committee to help with the Streets for All project. The member of the council at the time that served on that committee is now State Senator Gillespie. So staff is recommending that you appoint a council member to serve on this committee. The next meeting is December 9th, and we anticipate there to be 3 to 5 meetings left before we bring forth a recommendation.
Anyone just really wanting to serve on another committee?
Well, I wouldn't be able to make the 9th, and if there's only a few other ones, I don't know that I would be that beneficial to that committee.
Okay.
Did you say this is the vice mayor's role?
I
I
think it's a
didn't-
vice mayor.
I didn't hear that. He's got a lot of committees right now.
You said the next
Maybe
one
more.
is on December 9th.
Ninth.
Yep, 5:30, I believe.
And you have how many meetings a year, sir?
There's about anywhere from 3 to 5 meetings left. If you provide valuable input, we could probably wrap it up in 3.
Oh. And what time is the meeting?
5:30.
I would be thrilled to serve on this committee.
I appreciate your enthusiasm.
I'll make a motion for Counselor Green to serve.
I'll second that.
Yeah, me
More
too.
quality time we get to spend together, Mr. Hinkle.
Hey, I'm looking forward to it.
Good, good. I'll send you a list of my favorite snacks.
Wonderful. Congratulations, sir.
Yes.
Okay, you're staying here. Okay, item G, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of Comp Plan 1693-2024 for Brook Chase expanded.
Thank you again, Mayor. Comp-001693-2024 is a request to change the comprehensive plan designation from level 6 to level 3 on approximately 40 acres, which is currently unplatted. The property is located west of County Line Road and north of Washington Street. The applicant is requesting this change to the comprehensive plan for the purpose of a potential residential subdivision. In preparation for the possible approval of this amendment to the comp plan, the applicant has also submitted a rezoning request, BAZ-001692-2024, to change the zoning to RS4, which is in compliance with already approved phases of this project, 3 and 4, which are also RS4 as well. This current phase is phase 5, which according to the preliminary plat is outlined in purple. This item was heard by the Planning Commission on September 26, 2024, and was approved with a 3-to-1 vote per staff recommendations. Staff recommended to approve the comp plan change subject to the property being platted. Nobody spoke in opposition. City Council met on October 15th, 2024, and this item was continued to November 19th, 2024. To allow staff and the applicant to address questions presented by the council members. At that time, council members asked for information regarding the sanitary sewer capacity in the area due to problems identified on the east side of County Line. Meetings with staff determined that there are no issues on the west side of County Line. Those issues are on the east side, and the existing storm sewer trunk line is 24 inches and can handle the additional capacity. The other questions were raised were traffic created by the proposed development. This development is to be served by 2 entrances onto Washington Street. There is a stub street to the north that would exit onto Nashville. Currently, you cannot go east on Nashville to get to County Line Road, so there are no entrances onto County Line Road. Staff is recommending approval of the comp plan change, and the applicant is here to address any questions as well.
There's not a PUD with this, correct?
Correct. Do you want to hear from the applicant?
Okay, so, and you wouldn't exit out onto County Line, correct?
Correct. So it's phase 5 up there on the top of the screen there. So phase 5 would empty onto Nashville Street. The other phases, 3 and 4, have the 2 entrances that empty onto Washington Street.
There's a large,
You can come on down, sir.
Yeah, we don't speak from the back of the room.
There's a big creek right there.
good evening, council. Austin Mays, 1717 South Boulder. So along the east side of this development, between kind of the proposed residential lots and County Line Road, there's a large floodplain that's kind of prevented any roadway connection over to County Line Road. Currently, Nashville Street goes a little bit past Alpha Lavelle, and has a cul-de-sac. And so we propose with the fifth phase of this to connect to Nashville Street and to direct the traffic out west to Lynn Lane.
I'm sorry, are you the developer? I didn't hear that part.
I am the civil engineer on the project.
Okay. You stood up, I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not sure who you were. Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
He's a civil engineer.
Okay.
Yeah.
The reserve areas, C and E and D, are those detention areas?
Yes.
So how will that work with the creek? Will it flow into that, or is it just an overflow in the creek, or is it going to come the other way, coming down through the subdivision?
So the creek drains from the north going south.
Right.
The project kind of drains to the east, kind of southeasterly. And so we're proposing to, in these little pockets, kind of create our stormwater detention ponds and then slowly release it out to.
Into the creek?
Yes.
Okay.
I do have a question, Mayor.
Mm-hmm.
So the city actually built Nashville as a part of our economic development agreement with Alpha Laval. So are they aware of this development happening, and is that road's more than, I believe, more than capable? I just want to be a good neighbor. You know, are they aware of this, that eventually there could be cars coming off of that? Because if they're not, I think that they should.
I'm not aware if they're aware.
I'm not aware of any conversations with them.
Are they within the 300-foot rule of being notified?
They're outside of it.
They're outside? Then we need to reach out to make sure.
But it's still a city street, though, is that correct?
It is, it's just more of, I mean, it's a great road. We basically paid to have it built and got a grant.
Right.
An economic development center from the state is a part of this, you remember, to get the 300 some jobs at Alpha Laval. Just obviously at some point, if council approves this and it's actually built out, then those cars are gonna be coming out there. Now, Lynn Lane is on the plan to be widening and working on those plans right now. So it's gonna be 3 lanes. It's just a matter of making sure they know that they're actually eventually, that's gonna be,
increased. Yeah.
yes.
Well, then, I mean, do we need to
I
get
don't
that
think you need,
information?
if
or-
council ready to move on it, I just,
Okay.
as a part of this process, the developer needs to have conversations with their CEO about exactly what's planned and the timing and so forth.
Any further conversation or
questions?
questions?
I would think it's just a matter of informing them and making sure they knew what was going on and making sure it wasn't a problem, but it is a city street, and they can dump through an industrial area, but the industrial area can't dump back through the subdivision.
Right.
We just checked, they were notified of this development.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Did anyone sign up to speak for or against this?
No, ma'am.
Nope. I'll make a motion to approve the comprehensive plan change.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call. Okay. Item H, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of PUD 1634-2024 and BAZ 1472-2024. Rocky.
Good evening again. This item has been before the governing body a few times. This is a PUD and zoning request to rezone 39.5 acres from R2 to RS4 with a PUD. This property is located east of County Line Road and south of Houston Street. The PUD and the rezoning is for a potential Oak Creek single-family development with a maximum of 155 detached dwelling units. The PUD also proposes a 10-foot buffer with walking trails. And during the meeting held on August 22nd, 2024, the Planning Commission recommended approval of 3-2. Per staff recommendation, staff recommended this item to be approved subject to plating. During the public comment period, 3 citizens spoke in opposition and 1 in favor. The request was then reviewed by City Council on September 17th, but tabled to the October 1st meeting. At that time, staff requested that at the October 1st meeting that this item be tabled as well. The governing body, at their discretion, decided to take action, with this vote failing 0-5. Since that time, the applicant was not present when this application did not pass. So out of courtesy, we wanted to bring it before you again. They have made some minor adjustments to their PUD. Staff does not think that they're substantial, but again, it's up to the governing body to determine if the 4 minor items are substantial or not.
And at the last council meeting, whenever they weren't present, was there a reason? I mean, like, were they aware that it was on the agenda, or?
They were aware it was on the agenda. There was some miscommunication between staff and the applicant about this project being continued to the next meeting.
Okay.
What were the changes?
The 4 changes were they were going to provide a north stub street to the north. This would have been required during the planning process anyway, so that's why we don't consider that a substantial change. They're going to add some fencing to the railroad right-of-way. They were also going to require 100% of the structures to be brick, masonry, rock, stone, or similar. Again, this is not a requirement from staff's perspective, so this would not be a substantial change to us as well. And the last change is the schedule of development. They anticipated construction in the 3rd quarter of 2025 with they started moving dirt in 2025 with occupancy in the 3rd quarter of 2026.
Did you say the brick that the staff would not, it wouldn't have been required?
We don't require the.
I realize that. Okay. I want to make sure I heard it right.
The applicant is here as well to address any concerns.
Well, we've got quite a bit residents, so I'll have the residents speak, and then that way the applicant can address any questions or concerns from the citizens. The first one we have is Brittany Jones.
Hello, my name is Brittany Jones, and I live at 3000 South 13th Street. I just recently moved into a new Roush Coleman housing addition, and so I've been a resident of Broken Arrow for about 3 years now. I am a government affairs and outreach representative at a large energy company, so I am a young professional. Because it was tough for me to find affordable and desirable housing in Broken Arrow last year, I had to move into an apartment in Broken Arrow that was well below my means. I lived there until I had the chance to build with Roush Coleman. Roush Coleman made it possible for me to be a homeowner in a wonderful location in a beautiful home with a price that I can afford in the current economy. I have a husband and a 3-year-old daughter who enjoy living in a safe and new home that we can call our own. Because of Roush Coleman as a young professional, I was able to move into my home and open up a space at my previous apartment for another person to have a place to stay. I have good friends that have already started the process of purchasing a home with Roush Coleman because they saw that it was possible with this company. Not any of this was possible before we learned about this company, and now they're helping young professionals like myself to be able to afford starter homes, and especially in this economy. I really want to emphasize that. I also mentioned before that I am in government affairs, and at a recent legislative summit, we discussed the urgent need for more affordable housing in Oklahoma. The name Roush Coleman came up as one of the companies that is actively showing up as part of the solution to our housing crisis. I was proudly able to testify that I am a prime example of someone who moved out of a lower cost apartment into a Roush Coleman home and was able to open up a space for someone else at my previous apartment. Without Roush Coleman, I would never have been able to go from an apartment to $300,000 plus dollar homes in today's Broken Arrow housing market. So when you vote today, please consider young professionals like me who really need a house. Thank you.
Thank you. Lori Hendricks.
Thank you. And I apologize in advance for my voice. I'm suffering through the ills of allergies, so bear with me. Thank you for allowing us to come before you again. As you've been told, this is about their third bite at the apple. And all of the concerns that we had previously are still concerns. Traffic concerns are still a concern, with no plan to widen County Line anytime in the near future. With an additional application that you just approved for the comp plan that is 1 mile to the south of this location. And you just approved an heavy industrial, just to the west of this location, which will further exacerbate our traffic concerns. Flooding is still a concern. The last item, that parcel is, there's floodplain immediately in between that development and County Line. Again, it's 1 mile to the south of us. New photos were sent to some of you this week from the rains that we had this week, showing the creek that runs in between this proposed development and our existing development at near flood stage already, just with the rains that we have had. It is still considered an issue. And while the sewer is going to be fixed, we understand that Bluebell is being taken off of it. That has not yet happened, and it is still an issue for the residents in this neighborhood. Some news that some of you may not be aware of. As you know, Roush-Coleman, one of their arguments that they need this zoning change is that an RS2, which is what is currently zoned, does not fit within their business model. News came out today that Roush-Coleman has been purchased by Lennar Homes, which is a more upscale builder and whose typical development may be conducive to an RS2, making that point made by RC now moot. We do need new housing. The lady who spoke before, that's true, we do need housing. But you have a responsibility to ensure well-planned development that considers the health, safety, and quality of life for the people who currently live here, and balance that with the city's ability to serve those needs. We don't want this to create more issues than it is worth. This parcel, again, is already zoned RS2. You're not keeping them from developing it at all. We are just asking that they be denied the ability to put too many homes in too small a space and be denied once more. Please take that action. Thank you.
Catherine Church.
Hi again. Catherine Church, 1300 South 28th Street, Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. I am not an eloquent speaker like Lori is, but I did want to expound on one of the areas that I talked about last time. I have talked with Wallace Design Group regarding the retention ponds and how they're going to be, they will have discharge points into our backyards. So I've been in our house, we've been in our house since '89. Little history, I'm the only one who had a riding lawnmower. So I started mowing our yard and our neighbors' yards all the way down. So when I first started mowing it, little tiny indentation, didn't have to slow down, could just mow easily. Now that same area, with just a little trickle of water, I have to completely almost stop the lawnmower to get through that deep. And that was just a little trickle of water. That's what they're telling me on the discharge points. It's just going to be a little trickle of water. I've seen it take from little to great big. So I don't really, from my own personal experience, I don't really believe that is the case. So I believe my property and other people's properties are going to just erode away.
Okay. So, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
And I thought you spoke very well. Thank you.
Yes.
Sean Parrish.
Sean Parrish, 2619 East Knoxville Street,
Great to see you guys again. As Lori said, this is the third bite at this apple for them. They were aware of the meeting. They didn't show up. That's their fault. You guys denied it, but here we are again because they showed their true colors and sent their attorney down to the city attorney's office. So I'm going to talk about traffic again. Brook Chase, phases 3 through 5, I do believe it is. They want as RS4. I do remember watching the October 15th. I know you guys were kind of tabling some stuff on that, but that's 600 units. That's 1,200 cars, right? 2 cars per house, 600 houses, 1,200 cars. Some of them may eventually head out to Lynn Lane. A lot are going to come down to County Line and 91st. You guys are still trying to figure out, with the way the water runs through that area, how to widen that intersection. That's a lot of cars trying to make a left-hand turn, going up to 81st, making a right-hand turn, heading over there to get onto the highway to go to their prospective jobs. And that's going to happen twice a day. One of the last things I ended with last time I spoke with you guys is as a driving instructor, I see plenty of people driving very interestingly, to put it nicely. I can guarantee you at some point in your driving career, when you first got your license, at some point, you probably cut through a neighborhood to avoid a construction area, probably cut through a neighborhood to avoid a congested area. And that's what our neighborhood's going to be facing, because people coming north up County Line heading towards 81st are going to cut through this neighborhood, which in turn is going to cut through Oak Creek South and put everybody in our area. We're going to have to just deal with more traffic. So I ask you to take that into consideration and vote this down for the third time again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We do have over 70 that did not wish to speak but were in opposition, one of which I believe is Mr. Parrish's wife, maybe. She was unable to attend tonight due to work, but she's attended all the other meetings. She left a note on her form. Okay, so the applicant want to speak?
Good evening, Nicole Watts with Wallace Design, civil engineer too. So 123 North Martin Luther King Jr., and I do apologize for my voice as well. So it is that time of year. Thank you. We appreciate the opportunity to discuss this project with you again. Just kind of want to remind everybody of where we've started with this project and where we are today. We first came to you with a straight zoning of RS4 that you had just approved, on the west side of County Line. After further discussions with the council, you guys requested that we come back with a PUD, which we did. We came back with a PUD. We added a lot more reserve areas. We've added walking trails. We've added buffers. In discussions, we've added, we've listened to city, staff. We've listened to the neighbors. We've added the substreet to the north. We've required that all material be masonry, stone, stucco, on the buildings. With our discussions with the neighbors, this is going to be residential. If it's going to be R2, R3, R4 or something, but we know that this is going to be a single family, probably residential subdivision. And the issues that have been brought up by the neighbors, the traffic, detention, all of that, that's going to be for whatever neighborhood is developed. It doesn't matter if it's in R4 and R3, R2. You're still going to have the same streets, the same ponds, the same designs that you're going to have to deal with regardless. Looking at the traffic, and I don't know if we can pull up a aerial image or something to kind of talk through kind of how everything is working. In my opinion, I think a development here will actually help and alleviate some of the traffic woes that the subdivisions are seeing now. To the east with the, the existing Roush Coleman development to the southeast, that has to go completely through the existing subdivision to reach that subdivision now. That's the only way that they can get in. And you can kind of see that when that subdivision was constructed, a temporary road was actually built over to Lynn Lane to County Line to provide access. So all that construction traffic wasn't going through that residential subdivision when that Roush Coleman subdivision was built. With this development of this subdivision, we're providing another access point for these residents to enter and exit and not have to go through this older subdivision as well. So I really think it's going to alleviate some of the traffic concerns that they have, not add on to it, because we are providing more entrances and exits for people to get out. And as it's been discussed, it seems like this area of town has been very popular tonight on the, on the agenda. The city is in the process of widening 81st Street. I know the 91st Street intersection's been looking at. There's been discussions and working through, widening County Line as well. So that's in the process as well. We know that we're not going to be putting a building or opening a home in the next year. It takes time for development. It's going to take at least 2 years plus to be able to start getting homes built. We also agreed when we found out that there was a sanitary sewer issue, that we've agreed that no building permit will be pulled from this development until the city has that sewer issue resolved. They're trying to be, we want to be good stewards. We want to be good partners with the city and do everything that is in line to protect everybody else. We do understand that there is an existing creek back there along the back property line. Those, right along our eastern boundary, there is over a 100-foot drainage easement there. It's a regulatory creek by the Army Corps of Engineers. It can't be touched. That is a natural buffer between this subdivision and that subdivision. Again, during design processes, whatever we design for detention, we're not allowed to release at a greater rate than what the existing conditions are. So when you look at the plans and you look at our proposed layout, we have 4 different ponds. Would you mind pulling up the site plan too now, please? So we do, in our plan, we do have 4 different reserve areas, pond areas to mitigate the detention. We have provided buffers between the homes on the south to the railroad. That originally, and when you look at the older, the Roush Coleman subdivision, those lots are built right up to the railroad. During discussion during the PUD, there was discussion about wanting to have buffers. Let's do a green space. Let's make this an amenity. So we did. We pushed the lots up. We've provided I believe it's a 50-foot green belt behind those lots in the railroad to provide walking trails. We have a walking trail almost around the whole entire, subdivision now. With the PUD, we've allowed to get the lots that is in the market that is needed, but also provide to the city what you would like to see in a residential subdivision. The green space, the walking trails, the ponds, the amenities, the nice entrances. Also with the traffic right in the northeast corner, we have a traffic calming, island. So if somebody is coming from the west and want to go through here, with the widening, that's a natural calming, when you put an island. People are going to slow down. You've got to take a big curve to actually exit. It's not a straight through right down to County Line. So there are measures based on the engineering design criteria of the city that mitigates it. Block lengths are less than 900 feet. The curves are there. We're connecting to all the stub streets that were previously planned by the city staff 10, 15, 20 years ago when these subdivisions were built. It's not like we're adding anything new. These stub streets were placed there for us to continue on when their future development was. And so with this area, with this development, when it's being developed and proposed in this area, we feel that this is a good use for the property. It fits well with the area, and request, if you have any questions, that we're here to answer it. We also have some Roush Coleman delegates here if you'd like to talk to them as well.
Any questions or discussion?
Well, you did make a comment that it doesn't matter if it's R2 or R4, it's going to be the same traffic, but I can't see how that's going to be, because in each one of the different zonings, there's different amounts of houses that are allowed to be built.
Yes, sir. So we're
that's
probably-
also going, I'm sorry, I'm going to finish and then I'll let you go ahead. But that will also determine how many vehicles are going to be there based on the amount of houses there. So
Yes, sir.
I would, if you want to elaborate on that
I'm
point,
sorry, I
feel
didn't mean to
free.
cut you
No,
off.
you're fine.
So yeah, so if we came in with a straight RS2 zoning, we would probably have about 15% less of lots. Rough calculations, about 15%, 15 to 20, depending on that. We wouldn't be required to do as much green space, as many amenities. It could be more just straight lots, and just have a few little, ponds needed. But, with the PUD, we are providing more amenities to the subdivision. But yes, it's about a 15% increase from if you did straight RS2 zoning, R2 zoning.
I just want to clarify that.
Yes.
Well, it was important to me, the time that we had off that wasn't able to visit with you all those two meetings. I did spend time visiting with different real estate companies and people about what makes a house depreciate, the depreciation of a house. And all of them agreed that the one thing is to have a brick or hard siding on the side of the house. So that's the first thing, because it'll start rotting. Whatever you put on, it's not. So I'm really leaning toward a lot of our homes having at least, I know they said full brick, which I really agree with, but at least some brick, because that keeps the sprinkler from hitting on it and all that.
Sure.
And they said that really causes a house, no matter what size it is, to depreciate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as I said earlier, I visited with inspectors on our homes. The inspectors go by a national code book, and they bring that code book in, and all the building, plumbing, electric, heating and air, has to be built according to the code book. It's the same code book, whether it's $1 million house or a $200,000 house. They go by the code book. And that code book can't be changed. In fact, the only persons that can change that code book is the city council. And the code enforcement, they do bring it to the council once every year or two and change it. But all they can do is make it more strenuous than what it is. They can't lesser whatever the rule is. So all homes are inspected that same way. And they said they didn't see any difference in these homes than they did in a $1 million home somewhere. So I was pleased with the brick. I know it costs $10,000 to $15,000 a house to brick all the house. I know that Ross Coleman has bricked some of their houses, and I preferred it being brick, no matter what what goes in there. Also, it's important to me to make sure that road was secured to the north. I know staff said that was going to be put in anyway. That needs to be put in there for emergency services in case people need to get back and forth. That is a buffer area up there. Probably end up being apartments next to that commercial that's on that intersection. So it won't be for that traffic to come back through that, but it will be for this traffic to get out, or an ambulance or fire truck to get back and forth. So I was pleased with those particular points of it.
Good.
I know if you calculate an R2, there's about 175 units. Now, I know you took some out for flooding, but you could build 175 units with in an R2
Just straight zoning.
sub-district. With the R4, you could build up to 216, and your proposal is for 155.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes,
So
sir.
you're still building less units
Yes, sir.
than what you would build if it were a R2, if my calculations are right.
Yes, sir.
So, but I do appreciate the offer of the brick, because that means a lot, because that was something that maintains the integrity of a home for a long time. I know there's some, and I went through some in Owasso, have $400,000 homes, and then smaller homes right next to them in the same mile, and a lot of them didn't have brick on it. So I do feel like it's important to have that in the future. I would suggest that we look at our code, and we're getting ready to redo our code here in a few weeks, and see if we want to make lots, the small lots, a little bit larger than what we've making them now, because they are pretty small lots. But in the future, maybe make the small lot a little bit larger to cut back on the number of units. But I do think that they've gone out of their way. I feel like they would build a good system here.
Thank you.
Well, I think one of the questions I'd ask is what had changed, and there wasn't significant changes from what was presented, and then.
That's correct. Those are those 4 items I listed that we do not think, staff does not think is substantial changes to the PUD.
I think my biggest concern is still with the sewer until we can know what we're changing. I mean, I think we've got a plan. I know we've got a plan, and we're pretty sure it's going to work. But I wouldn't feel comfortable in approving anything until we know that that's going to work. And I think that's where I'm at right now.
One point I want to mention, statutorily, procedure-wise, since this item was denied the last time it was heard, if you do want to take action and vote on this item tonight, you need to take another vote where 3/4 of you agree to take action on this item.
Wait, what?
You're making it complicated.
We need to vote and then take a vote to take action on the vote.
If you wish to take action tonight, yes, you have to vote that you want to take
A
action.
vote to take an action. A vote to take action. So we don't take action right now unless we take a vote, but we don't want to take action. Then we go around and then make the vote to take action.
Then we take action.
That's because it.
That guy. Okay.
All right. Thanks for the presentation.
Okay.
Vice Mayor, just for clarification, it could be something as simple as just saying you vote to decide to take action on the application. That basically waives the 1-year cooling off period that they would typically have. Otherwise, you wouldn't be taking a decision tonight, and the previous denial would stand. But since you've had your hearing and everyone has had an additional opportunity to be heard, that's your opportunity to make a decision tonight on this item.
Okay. Which could be to not make a decision at all, to make it stand.
If we don't do anything.
Or, okay.
If you don't,
Correct.
if you don't do anything, it stands.
Any further discussion or questions?
No, ma'am.
That's the decision of the council for taking action or leaving as is.
I'll make a motion that we take action. I don't think I can do it on here, but it needs to be, I have a second or
Or it dies for fail.
Right. I'm not a lawyer, though.
You don't even play one. Do we have a second?
I think it's died.
You think it died? So I think that item died for failure of a second.
Oh.
Item 12 is preview ordinances, 13, and there are none. There are no ordinances for item 13. Remarks and inquiries by governing body members. Well, I do know that you guys had an amazing holiday kickoff or Christmas kickoff last Thursday, which I missed because I was out of town. But I just want to give kudos to our staff for creating an extraordinary night for our citizens. I've heard nothing but amazing things about that. And then like their ability to put together events like sensory-friendly events for our citizens that, I mean, a lot of times people would not go out of their way, you know, cities would not go out of their way. That's what makes our city so special and have that small town feeling, is because it is important to us to think of all of our residents for things of that nature. So just kudos to our staff for that.
We get to take advantage of our grain tower for the first time.
Yeah,
as well.
I heard you had a countdown or something on the grain tower, which was amazing.
And it was green.
Put it to the first use, because it was green.
Yeah.
It was.
It was pretty, it looked nice. A lot of compliments.
And then we were all at different times, but in Tampa for the National League of Cities conference this past week. And our Councilor Ford is going to be, well, in 1 year, right?
Yes.
She'll be the president of our Women in Municipal Government for National League of Cities, which then she'll get to bring a conference here to Broken Arrow, which will be amazing. So that's amazing.
And our mayor is on the board of directors of the National League of Cities coming up this next year, which is a great big deal. And that was really good. I'm really, we're really pleased about that.
Thank you. Looking forward to it.
I'm just a little disappointed I didn't get to go to the beach and work on my tan. We were in meetings all weekend,
Yes,
so
it was a very
had to
busy
work.
I missed the beach as well.
Yeah.
So, yep.
It was a very, very busy weekend.
We did take 10 youth with us, and the mayor mentioned that we was there at all different times. I really didn't like that, because I liked our youth to spend more time, and they did spend a little bit of time with the mayor, because it should come up early, actually just as we were leaving. But they had great meetings. Lori and Kurt really did a great job, and they really were, they learned a lot. Very disciplined group of 10, and Justin's done a good job of helping guide them and teach them, and I'll report to Justin, they really did a good job. I do think that we need to be able to spend a little bit more time, or they need to be able to spend a little bit of time when we're at. He talked about going to the beach. The beach was within 20 miles. We didn't have time to take them to the beach for anything. So I think in the future we might look at maybe putting an extra day. We've flown all the way out there. Take an extra day. You take, like if the group going to Washington D.C., I've always wanted to take them to Mount Vernon, where George Washington is.
That's like a whole day that you have to plan. Yeah.
Is buried where his home there at Mount Vernon. He and his wife are both buried there. And it's an all-day visit to that hill, but it's about 20 miles south of Washington, D.C. It's not something you just run down and run back. So to let them kind of vote on something special wherever we have them at, to spend a little bit of time, because it's tough to go to Florida and not see the beach. We did see a little bit of the bay.
Their first time being around there.
So anyway, they were great. Lori and staff did a great job, and we got back with all the kids.
They all came back. That's good.
Yeah. I kidded them along the way. I said 75% is good for me. So they all stayed close together.
Yes. Yeah, it was great.
Well, this Friday, it's Keep Oklahoma Beautiful festivities in Oklahoma City. And our police department, the public relations unit, is up for a big award for their cleanups that they've done around our city. And also Galena, our recycling coordinator, is up for Affiliate of the Year, which is a really big deal. Both of them are really big deals. So hopefully they come back with some nice little plaques.
Plaques and awards, yes. All right. City manager?
I do, Mayor. Members of council, good evening. Just three things. Is at your place is just to let you know is the latest edition of our Thrive newsletter, Your Money at Work. And I provided council with a copy. We have about 500 copies that we're going to have to be distributed to our legislators when we go to Washington and to many folks around the community. This is the annual piece that we do. We started this actually in 2016, 2017 timeframe. And it's just chock full information about where we get our revenues from, how we spend those revenues, project updates, some of the accolades we've received over the last couple of years, and just more information about local government, which is really what we're trying to do is make sure that we're as transparent as we can be with regard to how we do business. And I think that from what we do in social media, digitally, and this will go out to, a notice will go out to everyone in their utility bills. We'll be putting out a letter saying it's available with the QR code that they can actually get to it. So they'll be able to look at that. But we're also going to make it, if a resident wants a copy of it, we have extra copies, we'll actually make a copy available to them. This will also be available at the State of the City next month on December 11th at all the tables for the business community, which, some of them may not for some reason not get a chance to look at it, but they can take this back to their home, to their business to look at. So very excited, want to recognize Aaron McCulloch first, the communications teams and all the directors for putting that together. Just real quick, we'll begin the process tomorrow. We've done some preliminary work to get the notice out with regard to filling the vacancy in Ward 3, and we'll have that out tomorrow or Thursday, and that way we'll start, hopefully that'll start generating some interest to submit to the city clerk's office, and we'll get that to you as they come in. So, and then finally, we've pretty much in the city manager's office gone into state of the city mode, which is on December 11th. It takes several weeks to basically prepare everything to finish up the 2 videos. Yes, yes, in some way, shape, or form, by way of video, because I think it's important. I mean, I got a lot of really good feedback last year from the council members actually being involved, and once again, the council members are going to have a role in a couple of different respects. But really, it's a great opportunity to let the community, specifically the chamber. We have our chamber CEO and we have our vice president of economic development here. It's a good opportunity to let the business community know exactly how their city's doing. And so I'm super excited. We spent a lot of time preparing for it, and I'm looking for another great presentation this year, and also to share some of the great news, because sometimes we move so quick and there's so much going on, people see those things and forget what has happened 11 months earlier or 8 months earlier. And believe me, this is another year where there was a lot of crossing off on the whiteboard, which all the council members know. And that's going to be one of the themes this year, is actually obviously trying to change it up to show that sometimes you need to be old school to have a visual to see all the things that have been accomplished, that the council has set as a priority. So
yeah, I think that's my favorite part about State of the City is going back, because you're right. We work. See it all at one point, and you're like, look at all, what all took place and what our staff did, and just as a city, how much we flourished. So
yes,
it's pretty cool.
Yes, sir.
Before I know we haven't closed the meeting, but I don't know if I can do this procedurally or not, but Trevor's not paying attention.
Always listening.
There you go. You just brought it back up, the filling of the vacancy. I know we requested a letter of intent. Do we ask for a resume as well? Can we still do that at this point? So we can get to know a little bit more about them.
Okay.
In addition.
We will ask for that, along with that.
An 11-page letter of intent. And
a letter and a resume.
Once again, as we did it last year, a year and a half ago, actually, approximately, is once we get the number of people, and there could be someone that shows up that evening, I can give the mayor and council members a kind of time frame about what we have. You figure we start at 5 o'clock and wrap up 6:25, 6:20 or so. It's pretty much what we did last time. Give everyone equal amount of time to be able to say something. But it will be on there as a special meeting, and then on that item on the 3rd, there'll be an opportunity somewhere under the general business for the council to discuss the filling of the position. If you're in that position and majority of you are ready to do that, that was something you could certainly do.
Thank you.
And I will say this, because I just want to be real clear. I think Councilmember Ford brought it up about anyone that's interested contacting any of the council members, because really the only real requirement is to be here the 1st and 3rd Tuesdays of each month. But there are committee meetings that all of you serve on. You heard that earlier this evening.
Lots of committee meetings.
Secondly, is that there's been questions about attendance at ribbon cuttings and other events. All those questions can be answered by the elected officials or my office. I'll probably prefer them to you, but I think that that's a great idea to suggest if anybody is interested to talk to the existing elected officials about the commitment that is required, because you don't have to be at every single chamber ribbon cutting. It's great when you do, because the chamber always recognizes the city, but there are some events that you do need to be at, and there are committee members, and whoever the council chooses, should you do that, we're already starting to talk about a mini orientation to make sure that whoever you would pick will be ready and be good to go after that first meeting, getting them up to speed on the things that are pertinent right now. We got a work session in January, for example, with 4 or 5 items on it. So there's some things we'll make sure that they'll be ready for the meetings for the month of January, February, and March, respectively.
We need to make sure they understand the salary that comes with the position as well.
That's what I was just going to say.
Very, very high salaries. So.
We're gonna get a lot of
It's
people.
zero.
Yeah,
So
it's zero.
Just putting that out there.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Great point to share. All right. We do have an executive session, so I entertain a motion to go into a brief recess.
I'll make a motion to go into a brief recess.
I'll second that motion.
A motion and a second. Roll call?
Green,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes?
Parks,
Yes.
Wimpy.
Yes. Call the Broken Arrow Municipal Authority meeting to order. Roll call?
One moment.
Where y'all going?
Okay,
I know.
Green,
Here.
Ford,
Here?
Parks,
Here.
Wimpy.
Here.
Good stuff.
Are there any items to be removed from the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Roll call?
Mayor,
Oh, sorry. We have no public hearings, appeals, presentation, recognitions, or awards. No general authority business. Any remarks or inquiries by governing body members? City Manager?
I do, Madam Chair, as I'm working on my comments, it's been impressive the amount of work that's gotten done this year with respect to utilities and long-range planning, and you're going to hear me talk about the planting of the seeds that have actually begun in order to make sure that we maintain our infrastructure as well as plan for the future, which obviously is here before we know it. And so I just want to take this opportunity to thank Kenny Schwab and Charlie Bright and their teams for leadership in providing, especially the sanitary sewer and also the long-range water. I mean, there's a lot of work. I mean, water systems and sanitary sewer systems are incredibly complicated. And I just need to send a shout out to them. I'll mention them at the meeting, but I just wanted to publicly thank those teams as well as Tim Robbins. I mean, the day-to-day operations couldn't be in better hands. And so I just want to publicly acknowledge their efforts. That's all I have.
Absolutely. And they tackled a really big water line break.
Yes.
Yeah.
This week, so, thank you, guys. Okay, we have no executive session.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call. Call the Broken Arrow Economic Development Authority meeting to order. Roll call, sorry. Moving right along.
Green,
Here.
Ford,
Here?
Parks,
Here.
Wimpy.
Here. Any items to be removed from the consent agenda?
Move to the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call. There are no public hearings, presentations, recognitions, or awards. General authority business. 6A, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of and authorization to execute an economic development agreement between Regent Bank and Broken Arrow Economic Development Authority. Michaela Barton.
Good evening. I'm Michaela Barton, Tourism Manager. So, as a quick background, in 2023, Broken Arrow voters approved a 25-year renewal of the city's franchise with Public Service Company of Oklahoma, PSO. As part of the franchise agreement, PSO collects a 2% franchise fee and a newly established 1% economic development fee to be used as a fund for essential services and future prosperity. Upon passing the 1% economic development franchise fee, City Council adopted a formal incentive policy to support economic growth opportunities, including attracting and expanding both new and existing industry and commercial businesses throughout the city. So if you may recall, I was here a couple months ago, earlier this year, and Solar Turbines was the first to go through this incentive policy process for an expansion project they did, and it was the first project to be approved by council and funded through this new economic development franchise fee fund. Before you this evening is the second request to have gone through this formal application procedure. In early August, Regent Bank submitted an incentive application with a request to cost share in a relocation of a natural gas transmission line across their property, therefore increasing the surrounding property's developable area. The proposed project includes a 30,000 square foot mixed-use business and commercial facility with a total capital investment of approximately $15 million. Regent Bank estimates that by the second year after completion of this project, it will employ 40 new full-time employees with an average annual wage of approximately $65,000. This incentive application was reviewed in early September by the Broken Arrow Economic Development Incentive Review Committee, which is made up of several of the Economic Development Corporation's board members. The committee reviewed the application to confirm eligibility based on the incentive policy, and the recommendation was made to deny the request for the following reasons. And I'll just list the reasons that they gave. The property is high profile and the financial institution involved is financially sound. The issue with the gas line should have been identified during the due diligence process. Negotiations for the gas line connection should be handled by the developer, and the project has significantly reduced in scope compared to the original plan. So the reasons provided by the committee were taken into consideration by city leadership. However, upon review, it was determined that the project is in fact eligible for an incentive based on the incentive policy guidelines. The project meets or exceeds the job creation and wage minimums, as well as meets or exceeds the increase in payroll and capital investment requirements that are listed in the policy. So therefore, city leadership recommends the following: that upon installation and approval by the gas company of the relocated transmission line, the city shall reimburse the company a sum of half of the total cost of the project in an amount not to exceed $40,000.
And that comes from the PSO franchise.
That'll come from the PSO franchise, yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Michaela. I actually looked at this, and I have the utmost respect and admiration for those folks on the EDC. To me, this met the incentive policy guidelines. We've talked for the 9 years I've been here about a linchpin that would cause the Miller Horse Farm, or that 40 acres approximately, to be developed, and you have a financial institution that's going to be making a $15 million capital investment, which I believe will be that linchpin. The owner of the properties put the road in from Elm Place all the way over to Albany, and so to me, it really comes down to this city has a history of public-private partnerships, and I just think for this very small amount of money, although $40,000, it's the public's money, I do think this is a small amount of money to help partner with Regent Bank and the other businesses are going to be in their facility, and hopefully that'll begin the process of developing one of the most highest profile pieces of property, not only in Broken Arrow, but also left in Tulsa. And so I just think it's a good partnership for a very small amount of money to help with this.
I would agree. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any action on that one? Let me see. Or was that just a presentation?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call. Any remarks or inquiries by governing body members?
Miss one? Oh, here it goes.
City manager?
Just want to mention that yesterday, Jennifer Rush, the mayor, and I had a lunch with the leadership from the chamber and the EDC, along with James Bell and Amber Miller, and we're just talking about a couple of things. And one of the things that we talked about, which we're going to be having a meeting next month, is actually finalizing a marketing plan for AeroForge and getting that process started. And one of the things that I've mentioned is James and Amber are going to lead this. At some point, there'll be a small team from the chamber and the EDC that will actually be going to site selectors around the country to actually talk about AeroForge and the opportunities for that, I would say, approximately 60 acres of buildable land. And that's going to be probably a little bit long-term, but we're also going to talk about the local marketing that we're going to do with existing businesses as well as around the Tulsa metropolitan Oklahoma City area, to make sure that everybody knows that the actual infrastructure improvements have started, and to get the word out, as well as hopefully have some conversations with some educational partners. But that was really the focus of the meeting yesterday, is just continue our collaboration with James. Basically been here about 45 days now, and making sure he knows what's going on within the community, specifically with, and I'm sure Amber's brought him up to speed, but I just want to recognize how much we've been talking about things and starting to put some plans together for 2025 and beyond.
Thank you, sir. There is no executive session.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call. We do have an executive session, so I entertain a motion to clear the room for a brief recess.
So move.
Second?
Green,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Parks,
Yes.
Wimpy.
Yes.